if we have another delay next month? 2-3 week delay, something comes up.
Don't.
But we didn't put.
I don't want you to have a delay. All right.
If it's not of our own doing, and
Well, we have to, think about this, we have the building permit. We have everything pretty much designed. You know, there might be a few things that we have to clean up from a design standpoint the town might want to see. But for the most part, there shouldn't be anything that we uncover in the law.
Is it possible for you to cap any overages at this point?
If it
It
were a
has to be
different
part of the
client,
cost of doing business too.
If it were a different client, I'd say yes. But you know what? You guys change your mind every 2 minutes.
No,
We're
no,
not
that's
talking
that's
about
what
changing.
we're
We're
talking
saying
about. No,
it's
no, no.
not of our
Yeah.
own.
What Lisa's saying, is that if we don't ask you to modify the contract,
Okay.
no change orders based on design changes coming from.
Alan, here's a possible scenario. We have another mass resignation of inspectors from the town, and you can't get an inspection, and you're held up.
That's a problem. That would be a problem. You know, right now, we probably, the inspectors in the town are pretty responsive. And, you know, you can get them within a day or two.
That's a nice change.
Yeah, the new people are
That's
terrific.
great.
You know,
They really are.
and from what I'm hearing from Matt, that they're actually a lot more cooperative in the review process too. So, I mean,
All right, one of your...
under that scenario, that could be a problem.
All right,
What if they all quit?
So you
and it
won't
takes them 4
absorb any
months?
of it as the cost of doing business, and you're going to keep adding on.
I gotta look at it no, we don't keep adding on.
No, he didn't say that.
Well, if it happened again, if we got held up with permits again.
Well, we have our
We
permits.
have the permits, but
Inspections,
need
like if
it.
they all quit and it took 3 months to replace them,
for
and we
inspections.
couldn't get inspections, wow. I've never run into that situation.
No,
No, there was the temporary people acting, and they're like,
You haven't, but let me say something about the contract. In all our contracts at the Galaxy, we fix a fair amount of time, and we really listen to the contractor and the architect or the engineer to make sure he's got ample time to finish the job. We give the architect or the engineer in charge the ability to extend the time for weather and those sort of delays. But that doesn't mean the contractor gets any money if he's delayed by weather. And this contract is the same. Every one of our contracts has liquidated damages in it if there is a delay. So, once this job gets started, I think you're gonna see it finished on time, and I think you're gonna see your contractor doing everything possible to finish on time, because the burden for delay at that point
It's on him.
is on him.
Okay, Stephen, you had some other issues. I think we gotta move this forward. We got a lot
I
of other
know we
stuff to
do, but I just want to make sure that I understand. Is there any other material positive to this, approving this change order before I speak to it?
Yeah, I would
The
like
other
to say
issues.
that, you know, Susan and Matt have been working with Tony on this for the last month or so, month and a half. And one thing that Tony has provided, this wasn't the case that he came in and said, well, here are my expenses. Everything that they've asked for, right down to his timesheets, for his hourly payroll, for his staff, a multi-page letter that he wrote to us outlining in very general terms, because Matt asked him to be general for our purposes, but he was very specific with them. He has backed up all of the additional time and expenses and what he has been working on and doing every single month, and has backed up all of his payroll records. So this is not just, it's costing me about, or an arbitrary number. This is a very, very well backed up number.
Okay, Stephen,
I have-
John?
Yeah, Tony, I recall very clearly in the fall that you talked about escalating labor costs and escalating material costs likely after January. But I don't recall you talking about the biggest chunk of this change order, which is your fundamental.
To be honest with you,
overhead.
John, I didn't look at it
Well,
until
going
December, until I got the
forward,
permit.
Yeah.
Because there was no sense, I mean, I didn't want to review something and then have to review it, and then have to review it, and then have to review it, and then have to review it again. So when we got the building permit, I started looking at the costs and assembling what the costs were, and I didn't know until I submitted them.
Is it fair to say we can't do that again, though?
I don't see that being a possibility.
Okay, but, I mean,
there's so many
just-
things that we've overcome.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and we have play. I mean, if there's a 2 or 3 week or 4 week delay, then there's not gonna be an additional cost. But it can't be a 9 week, a month
But
delay.
instead of waiting until the end to tell us what the amount is.
Give us a heads
Can
up.
you give
Heads
us a
up.
heads
Right.
up going
I will
forward?
raise the flag anytime.
But with
The-
numbers, not just raising the
No.
flag
Does
with
every
words.
day.
I do that all the time.
Five
but-
times a
but-
day.
But I will raise the flag if even the potential of a financial implication arises. Okay?
Yep.
Harlan, and then we
Yeah.
gotta go to Steve, we gotta move.
I just want to clarify, because people may be confused, and since Tony's here, people may be confused or wondering just why the interior portion of the lobby hasn't been started yet.
Oh, can you speak up a little bit?
I'm just asking why the interior portion of the lobby hasn't been started yet. Maybe we can clarify
That's
that.
a good question.
Yeah.
Tony can- Good question, Harlan.
Well, it has been, well, first of all, we got the building permit at the end of November, and the first step had to be demolition of the concrete in the old outer vestibule, and as soon as we did that, we saw tears and rips in the waterproofing layer, and then that whole waterproofing process started with the consultant being brought on board, water test. He had to come up with specifications, and the waterproofing contractor had to replace the waterproof.
That's not the question.
But that's outside.
No, Harlan,
He had to do that
Well, the
first.
answer
to the question.
The answer to the question is.
material-
Project was
the-
phased.
Can't get in and out.
You can't get in and out.
That's the
The
answer.
debris can't be removed.
That's what I want.
And the material's brought in because there's no surface there. So Tony has a recommendation.
I'm sure people
To
would want.
fix that, right. But that's the next step. The reason the lobby, in short, the reason the lobby work has not started in the interiors is because there's no access to it until after the concrete
the
pads are
workmen.
either poured or some type of a bridge is built over the excavated area to get to the lobbies. At this point, I'm going to ask Stephen to raise his issues because we're just delaying the inevitable.
Thank you.
The inevitable.
Yes.
I appreciate that my comments will have absolutely no impact.
No, I didn't say that because but I know you have something to say, so I
Thank
might as well
you.
get to it.
I think that this is one of the poorest documented proposals to spend money that it's ever been my displeasure to have to review. And I'm going to go through pretty much what I've heard here and demonstrate that there is no rationale here demonstrated for this money at all. Absolutely no rationale.
Having said that, we've been asked for a station break. Hold on one second. We're gonna have one subject.
We'll take care of our luggage heights.
All right, let's go, Stephen. Move on.
First of all, let's get at what the essential issue here is. The claim here, and I only want to deal with the 200,000 or so, which is associated with Mr. Delano's overages and costs. I'm not dealing at all with the subcontractor part of it or the insurance overage. I think that that's well documented. We're talking about roughly $200,000 in costs that Mr. Delano is claiming is an overage to the contract relative to the delays and some other issues. And first of all, I think the only thing about that I can agree with here is that this is certainly something that was never contemplated